Check, 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 check.
All right, this one's good. Now you gotta go over there. Good? All right. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
Yeah, you don't want to be too
Test.
good.
Right. Welcome to everybody who's never seen this before.
Yeah. We love it when there's an
Come
audience.
anytime.
Yes, we love
We
it.
do this a lot. Maybe not this, but we do meet a lot.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so the bargaining unit voted down the set of agreements, so it's on us to counter.
Correct.
So it's on our side. The issue is compensation. So I put together everything that's non-compensation into this folder here
Okay.
and re-TA'd it with today's date
Okay.
for your TA. TA is a tentative agreement, everybody.
Okay. So can I go through these first?
I was planning, I envision you going through them in caucus, but if you need to look at them now.
Let me just look and
Yeah,
make sure,
go ahead.
because the insurance one, we're going to make a change to.
Okay, just pull it out.
Okay.
It's not Appendix D. Is it? What you need is in there?
Correct, it's not Appendix D.
Right,
Yeah.
but what you need in there?
I did not
Okay.
see it, which is okay, because
fine.
I'm going to pass it. And do you want me to give you that now or later?
You can give it to us now.
Okay. So this is the same memorandum of understanding for, and Tammy, I'm going to go ahead and give this to you. And then I know you may not be able to sign it tonight. Okay, one more for Michelle.
I think it might be, there's an and here. Is that just the typo?
No.
Okay.
We're gonna.
Oh, it's
we're gonna
and
go
number
through
2.
this,
Got it.
Correct.
All right.
So initially, we had signed a 0.5% increase with the deductions beginning on January 13th.
Right.
So we are changing that to February 15th because the concern is not having ratification in time. And then we added a number 2 and made a change. We added a number 3 and made a change to number 2. So the medical, dental, and vision premium forgiveness in December 15th and December 30th, because SJEA ratified and it was board approved, that will go through for them. And so we're offering the same premium forgiveness for January 13th and January 31st. So the forgiveness would occur before the premiums actually, the increased premiums actually go into effect, just like we had initially planned.
Right.
So
We got to move the date.
those
Got
are
it.
the only, correct.
Right. Premium forgiveness is, for those that don't know, is not paying premiums that month in
Correct.
2 paychecks. We agreed to December, and now it would be January.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so I have brief remarks and then a proposal for you. So we're here today again because the bargaining unit voted against ratification of the group of agreements that we negotiated here at the table. The issue is the compensation package. While much blame falls on the legislature in Tallahassee, and while every person in the bargaining unit may not know the nuances of the budget, they intuitively knew one thing: they weren't made a priority by their employer. The evidence tells a narrative. Of the 5 counties sharing a border, St. John's in Northeast Florida, St. John's would be 4th of the 5th in starting teacher salary if we ratified the district's latest proposal, ahead of only Putnam. As we all know, starting teacher pay is not the main issue. Experienced teacher pay is. And we also have to recognize that Tallahassee has launched an attack on experienced teachers. But employers are still obliged to look out for their people. The district's approach this year had a major flaw. To the instructional unit, you offered the TSIA designated money from the state earmarked specifically for instructional salaries, and only 15,000 additional money, later amended to 65,000, despite millions in new money from a BSA increase. The voting members of the bargaining unit knew they weren't made a priority. In fact, they feel like an afterthought. This is the top-rated school district in the state, has been for 12 years, yet there's not a valid metric that places our average or median salary in the top half in the state. Our teachers know a systemic problem when they see it. That problem includes the district not spending enough of its resources on instruction. As a percentage of total expenditures over the last 9 years, St. Johns County School District has averaged 59.5% on instruction, while the 9-year average for Clay and Sarasota is 66%, Collier 63%, Lake 64.4%. In fact, of all the comparables, we are the only one not in the 60s.
So do you want me to ask
put this-
questions? Do you want me to wait for the end?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. To put this argument in context, 1 percentage point in our budget equates to about $3.85 million. Our last proposal would have cost the district an additional $2.1 million because we recognize the balance between our needs and your fiscal concerns. Too many of our teachers can go make substantially more money in Flagler. Given the new base salary proposed by the district, a good portion of our teachers can go nearly anywhere we share a border with and earn a raise. Why would we want to do this and risk losing people in a shortage? This really does lead us to another part of the problem, the placement schedule. We cannot continue to bring experienced teachers in so low, or we will continue to lose them. Our last proposal included a huge step in the right direction with the placement schedule, which does come with additional cost, additional to the $2.1 million acknowledged, but cost that can be planned for largely, not entirely incurred at once. We do not need a temporary fix for this year. We need a new philosophy, a new set of priorities. Our proposal today is for the TSIA increase, plus $2.1 million. That's $2,029 for highly effective, $1,522 for effective and grandfathered, with $1,142 added to the starting teacher salary as dictated by law, 75% of the grandfather raise. The new starting salary would be $48,642, essentially tied with Duval behind Flagler of those 5 counties I mentioned. We believe this proposal is ratifiable. There's 3 pages to the proposal, the colorful page with the formula, the summary, and then the placement schedule. Here's 7 copies for you of all 3 pages. I'll take questions, of course.
So, Justin, the cost to the salary schedule that you have on here, on the formula.
Yeah, it's different. Here's why. Can I interrupt you? You have more to that question. It's different, you're right. Okay, because the formula that was created by Dawn, right? Mm-hmm. The formula accounts only for people at the starting base, the starting teacher salary, not everyone on the placement schedule. Correct. So this one includes everyone on the placement schedule. So your last proposal, you were going to spend like $280 81,000 something on the placement schedule.
Correct.
Our new proposal would be 743. It's significantly more. So here is that. I thought you might ask for that. Yeah. Yep. That one is only, just to clarify that, make sure I said it right. That one, the colorful formula one, only multiplies the number of people at the starting base
Okay.
times whatever we add.
Okay. So now you're at 2.9, about 2.9
Correct.
billion.
Correct.
And you're asking recurring
Yes.
dollars.
Yes.
Recurring dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. We don't need a Band-Aid or one-time payment.
Okay.
We need to make some philosophical changes here.
Okay.
That's the argument.
So you talked about a systemic problem, and you threw out some numbers from Clay and Sarasota. And so where did you get those numbers?
District summary budgets and AFRs. But you actually, St. Johns County budgets in the low 60s. You just don't spend in the low 60s. So if you only look at AFRs and compare apples to apples, that's where I got my numbers from.
Okay. So
It's instruction divided by total expenditures.
Okay.
Count 5,000 divided by total expenses.
And so did you do that for all counties, or did you just pick?
Like size and contiguous. Yeah. Ones that we would use if we ever went to impasse.
Okay.
So like size by FTE.
Okay. Okay. All right, so I can get into my opening comments, or why don't I pass across the MOU? So we know that we're not going to go outside of what we bargained, but in the middle of what we bargained, we had two hurricanes. So we had Ian and Nicole. So if you're okay, I'd like to pass that across so that you have something as well to caucus with and talk about. And then I'm going to go through my own opening comments and then ask some questions while we do that. Are you
Sure.
good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Tammy, I'm kind of just going to hand you this.
Okay.
I will tell you, you can follow along. The language is almost identical.
Okay. Do you have one more copy?
I do. Woo. Yep. Sorry. Do you need any more? Okay. So we did everything that we normally do as far as hurricanes go, and then we added a little different incentive. So the days that the district was closed was September 28th, 29th, and 30th. That was for Ian, and then November 10th was for Hurricane Nicole. And so we have made February 6th a student contact day, but that's already part of the 196-day calendar for teachers. So they were already going to work anyway. So
Right.
there's still 4 days of work that need to be made up. So I'm just going to kind of 2, 3, and 4 are the normal language that we've always included. You can make up the time, and I will get you the procedures. The procedures are identical to what they
It's a
have been
log.
in the past. It's the log, and then it's just kind of to telling the teachers kind of how they need to log the information. Teachers can make up the time all the way up until April 30th. So they have almost until the end of the school year, or they can use leave time, emergency, sick, or personal, should they choose to do so, or we threw something a little different in here, and this is, so we picked 4 days that we believe are high substitute days. So days that, just based upon the pattern of absences, are high substitute days. And so if a teacher works their normal work day, Friday, February 17th, we waive 1 makeup day. If they work Tuesday, February 21st, we waive 1 makeup day. Thursday, March 9th, we'll waive a makeup day. And Tuesday, April 6th, we will waive a makeup day. And it can be a combination thereof. So if somebody chooses to log, 3 days of makeup time,
Yeah.
and they choose to work one of these days, or they were normally going to work one of these days, then they can just write it in there. I worked on February 17th, and that makeup time is waived.
Yeah.
So just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to cut down on the number of people who have to fill out the log, right?
Well, they would still fill out the log because we want them to write on the log that they actually worked on that particular date.
So you have documentation for auditing
Correct.
purposes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But they would just have to put it in. full
Yeah,
time.
the only thing that's cumbersome to the employee here is to fill out a piece of paper, really. That's it.
Correct.
I would, okay.
Correct.
I think it might be a little bit confusing, but we'll make sure that we feel like we can communicate it.
Okay. Okay, so opening comments and then questions for
Sure.
you regarding some of this information. So just some history. I've been on the bargaining team since 2008. I've been here a very long time. I think Tammy and I are the only ones that have been here for that long and know the history of all of our negotiations. We have been through the best of negotiations, and we have been through some of the worst of negotiations. And when I say the worst of negotiations, in 2008 and 2011, there were no increases, and that was painful. But both teams understood the seriousness of the financial position that the district was in during both of those times. We worked together to educate our employees and have them understand these hard decisions. I bet many of our grandfather teachers that are in the audience today remember having to go through the freeze. And in many instances, that was because the district couldn't afford the value of a step for everybody. So remember, it was either a step or there was nothing.
Riffs.
Correct.
Right.
And we didn't riff anybody during that time. I mean, I want to make it important to understand that together we worked to ensure that we maintained jobs. And then in 2014, we moved to pay for performance, and that was also due to legislative law. And once again, we did this together. The district and the union actually ended up creating a video, and that video is still on the district website. Mr. Forson was the chief negotiator at the time with Brennan Asplin, so they were the 2 district representatives. And then Dawn Chapman, who was the president of the union at the time, and Marianne Collins, who sat in your seat as the chief negotiator, also on this video. And so together they worked together to explain what pay for performance was, and ultimately explaining that there was some good coming out of this, because in times where the district may not have the funds to give a complete step, when there was money, there was at least a bucket to give something to everybody. It may not always be as big as it was in prior years, but it is something so that we're hopefully never in the situation that we were in back in 08 and 11. So last year, as you recall, the district gave a very big package. We negotiated that there would be $1,000 that came out to $330,000 for those teachers that were not included in the governor's money. And so we made sure collectively that We showed value. Teachers were the priority. We didn't feel like it was fair or equitable, but that was something that we could afford. We could certainly afford that to try and at least make things somewhat right. And last year, which was not long ago, I mean, we just got finished in the spring, we put together a really good package between the two of us. And in the St. Augustine Record, Michelle Dillon is quoted as saying, "It's the biggest package in years." And you, Justin, are quoted as saying, "The raises would cost the district $10 million. And we touted, and the Record touted, St. Johns County teachers would receive the biggest compensation deal in years. And I think that's wonderful, and it's great, and it's true. But then there's differing information on November 30th from Michelle Dillon, who then tells everybody, one of the concerns is the tiny year-over-year increases a teacher has to look forward to after joining the district. So what is it? We give very big increases one year when we can afford it, and then we give what we can during the times when we have a negative $20 million fund balance. In your presentation last year, you also show a slide. I actually have that slide with me. But you showed a slide.
Do you like that video?
Year over year. I actually did. I really liked last year's.
Good video.
Yes.
Made a lot. I'm proud of that one.
Yes. But last year you showed a slide and you show that $9,000 and you actually say that's pretty decent, $9,000, which comes out to about $1,229 average. And this year we've agreed to $1,260. So if the average was pretty good, not quite sure why $1,260.
Can I interrupt you?
No, I want to go through my
I'll wait till the
poll.
end, but you're
Wait
not
till the
going
end.
okay.
Wait till the end.
All right.
Okay. And then, and again, this is a very, very good presentation. So, and then in your myths and facts slide, okay, you actually talk about different counties and placement schedules, and you talk about how personal it is.
Depends on who you are.
It depends on who you are. That people really need to look and see where they would fall within those districts. You also talk about inflation, which is great, and you specifically state that we don't tie pay raises to inflation.
It's not a good argument, yeah.
But you say that.
Yeah, I haven't made that argument here at the table.
No, you haven't,
All right.
but you say, but
Yeah,
it's
it's not a good
important,
one.
it's important for the public to understand that as well. That
Okay.
when they come, that we don't negotiate based upon inflation. And then your last slide, which also is very good, you did a around the state slide where you specifically identify the salaries and you show kind of where everybody else fell. But now there's been confusing comments in the news because you talk about how great everything is, and then we go back and we say to the public, well, there's these the district is giving out tiny increases. Well, which is it? It's one or it's the other. So now I'm going to ask you a question, Justin. And the question is, what is a tentative agreement?
It's an agreement that we come to at the table here that we send out to, once we're all done, send out a series of tentative agreements for ratification.
And is it an agreement that we agree to? That you as a group
Oh, I'm on
agree
record.
to?
Go back. I'm on record saying this isn't, Kathy, this is extremely reluctant that I'm TAing this. We're going to hope for ratification. I knew the factions that were out there. I
Okay.
told you I was very reluctant, very.
So why didn't you ask me to help you do your presentation?
What do you mean? Which presentation?
Your presentation for ratification?
For this year?
Yeah.
Why would I?
Sally Cunningham and I did. Almost every year that she was the chief
Well,
negotiator.
I mean,
we
at the
came
same notion
together.
you could have offered. No, I didn't think to ask you.
Okay. Because if you didn't think you could present it, I mean, you signed it. And when you sign it, you were saying, we as a team agree to this. It's going to be hard
Mm,
to tell so you're shaking your head,
Yeah.
but if I TA'd on something and then I went in front of our school board and said,
Wait, what did I say?
we'll go through that
Oh,
right now.
okay.
Okay.
This will be good.
So one of the questions is, this was great, and this was something our employees knew and saw. So why not use the same presentation and just update what we have done this year? Why start from scratch?
I mean, I don't know that, what does the answer matter?
Because I'm telling you, these two presentations are very different presentations.
I need you to get to the point. What are you accusing me of?
I'm showing you the difference between telling the teachers,
This is not helping our ability to get ratified
hang on,
what I just passed.
it is, because we're
They're seeing
educating
right through
all
this.
of the information.
Okay,
They're
keep
seeing
going.
too, because not everybody is here for all of these meetings. They don't hear the conversations that we have with one another regarding where our fund balance is, where we are financially, what you specifically would like, and how you are presenting on behalf of your members. But remember, they're also district employees. So, I mean, when they
Did you
are
make a video?
here, I'm glad that they are all here.
Did you make a video?
I don't think we can make a video. If we do, which maybe is something we need to do in the future, I still would like to do it together. I think when Sally and I did it together, it was actually very helpful, because then it showed that we both TA'd and we both agreed to what we were signing, and that we were going to put the information out together and educate what we agreed to at the table.
Okay.
Okay? So in this year's presentation, in your background slide, you did a great job of talking about where we've gone and where we've been. But here's where the concerns lie. So when you speak to year 2, all right, you state that we got to 47.5, which was great. We did. We talked about that at the table to get to 47.5. And you kind of skim over it and you say, that took a little bit of additional money from the district and available funds. Well, a little bit of additional money is subjective. We took $2.4 million just to get to 47.5. Of that $10 million, 2.4. So, when you say a little bit of money, 2.4 is, 3/4 of what we got for the
Right.
TSIA
Okay, I'm still waiting.
this year. Okay?
Yep.
So then you talk about the offers, educate everybody about the offers, but you speak to Clay, Duval, Flagler, and Putnam, right? You talk about kind of what you just talked about in your opening statements. What I want to know is, did you ever tell those that were watching this that Clay and Duval both have a 1 mil referendum? The district does not get that kind of income. We cannot keep up with that. We can't. So it's true. It is very true. These districts are going to pay more than we do because they have an income source that we cannot use on teachers.
Do you all just pass that?
Right, correct, but you're talking about.
I just gave you 9 years of
22,
data and you're quoting this year's mill raise?
And it's not
Wait a
even
minute.
It's not even in effect yet.
But when you're talking about them looking at salary schedules and looking
It's
at and
pedantic.
places.
It's pedantic.
The plays
Okay.
just renewed, all right? And then you speak to your grandfather's teachers that you're gonna look out for them, which I absolutely agree. And you state, that's okay. And you state there's an experience penalty at the state level that you're trying to combat at the local level. But we can't always fix what the legislature does financially to this district.
I'm not asking you to fix it, ameliorate it.
Okay. So the other thing that doesn't ever get said is that grandfathered teachers have the ability to earn what a highly effective teacher earns.
Give up tenure.
They do have to give up tenure. They do. And we have said to you at this table that when teachers do that, we are not going to allow principals to clean house and start non-reappointing people that have gone from grandfathered.
I don't even
annual
worry about,
contracts.
I mean, that's a concern, but I don't even worry about that. They held on to it, and look at today's political climate. Thank God they held on to it, right? They're probably thinking, wow, thankfully I held on to this.
Why?
Because they're a phone call or an email away from not being worth it. I'm a annual contract employee, Kathy.
Yeah.
I'm one complaint away from not being worth keeping around. I don't have the benefit of, I don't have guaranteed due process. That's what tenure is. That's why they held on to it.
You get due process.
I'm
and
not
you would
guaranteed
get
due process.
You would get.
I am not guaranteed it.
So, but I'm telling you, that is a choice. It's a choice that our grandfathered teachers are making. So when they say, I'm only getting $945, what doesn't get stated is I could get $1,260, but there's a trade-off. There is a trade-off. We need teachers. They are good teachers. I'm not saying that there is anyone in here that is not a great teacher. So that we've talked about this before. So the question is, we have annual contract teachers that are on 10, annual contract 10, annual contract 11. They've been here for a very long time. Yes, I'm sorry, number of years. They've been here for a very long time. We're not cleaning house. We need good teachers, and our grandfathered teachers are good teachers. But I feel like that isn't reminded. It's never stated.
Every year you send them a form, right? That allows them to opt into performance pay.
Mhm.
I mean,
Correct.
you need
We
me
do.
to mention a video too? I will, but every year you send them a form. You look at all the grandfathered people and you send them all a form. What else do I need to do? I'll make a video. I'll include it in the video. I promise you.
Okay. Okay. But you also, when you speak to that, there are a lot of new teachers that don't understand that either, right? So when you say we're going to take care of our grandfathered teachers, they
those
might
aren't
not
new teachers.
understand.
They've been in this district since at least 2008. They're not new.
No. But when you say grandfathered teachers, do your brand new teachers who are also voting understand who they are and the circumstance that you're in?
I defend my videos. I think they're good, informative, and factual.
Okay.
If that's what you chose to pick apart,
It's fine.
that's fine with me. But it does show a little bit about how weak the argument is over there.
It
You're
does.
picking apart my video, which is
stating-
factual in every
Correct.
way.
But what I'm stating is that you signed a tentative agreement, which agrees that you are
Reluctantly.
going to.
To avoid impasse, I literally said it. This is reluctant. Here you go.
So why sign it?
Fine.
I mean, really, why sign
Okay.
it?
Fine.
Why sign it?
To avoid impasse.
Okay, why avoid impasse?
Would you like to go to impasse?
I'm just asking, why would you avoid
Because I am a
impasse?
negotiator and my job is to try to avoid impasse. I will go there if we have to,
Mhm.
but in good faith, I tried. I tried to get an agreement ratified. We tried to get an agreement ratified. That I warned was probably not. I knew the factions that were out there. I know what they're saying. I know what they're thinking about. But
So
keep
again,
going.
I'm just stating, I mean, there were things that you left out when you talked about, and again, this is a good slide. I wish you would have said how much money Because I don't think they understand the budget. I don't think what was communicated was how hard the district was hit with these items. And that was important. Because
I think I acknowledged it,
when people-
not to your liking, but I acknowledge that.
I mean, when you say,
These
when
are,
we
it's
say-
titled Pressures on the Budget.
Correct. But what is pressure? Again, it's subjective. If you say for 22-23, there's an extra $6 million.
The board is saving $6 million in January. One-time savings, not getting, they're getting the premium holiday too.
They are getting the premium. The insurance plan is
6
getting the
million just made me
premium
think of it.
holiday, and the board is getting a premium holiday. Correct.
Yeah, you mentioned the
Correct.
average being 12 something, right? And
Mhm.
and a lot of that average is, so what's happening is that you have, last year is inflating the average raise over the last number of years, right? Because we did well last year.
Mhm.
I stick by that. A lot of the money that you put in, and I'll be specific so I'm not ambiguous, $2.4 million of it was to get to 47.5.
Mhm.
The district found $2.4 million because they wanted the base to get to 47.5 to stay competitive. When you want to find it, you find it.
No, not the district and SJEA together.
Okay. The average is being lifted by last year. So you quoted the average of being in the 12 something range and that this year's offer is 1260. If you, the district, are offering 12 something in addition to because the TSA money is not costing you anything. That 1260 is coming from the state. So if you're offering 1260 of your money, we'll take it. All right, because that's 2,500. That's better than what I just passed across. Happy to take it. If that's the offer. It's not. Don't everybody calm down. It's not the offer.
So Justin, where's it coming from?
Good question. Good question.
Where's it coming from?
Well, you got 3% in committed. There's $11 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you got 3% in committed. There's 11 million. I really can't believe that we're here over 2.9 million. I really can't. But I understand there are pressures. Going back to 2016. So I got 6 years of data here. So instruction, which is 5,000, we count 5,000, surplus, 8.4 million, 9.4 million, 4 million, 14.5 million, 16 million, and last year, just under 4 million. So
Is this out of our AFR?
yeah,
Okay.
AFR. So the surpluses are there in instruction. So this is, to your point, I can only answer it what I can infer and glean because this team, the collective brain power is unbelievable, but we're not in the budget meetings either. If you invite me, I will come. But I'm not in there, so I don't know how you make the decision. Like for example, I don't know how you decide to budget a few $100,000 for instructional staff training services and then spend 3 million, 3 million, 3 million, 3 million, 2.5 million, and 3.8 million. Why aren't we budgeting for it?
Can I ask it? First of all, are you talking about the original budgets? The
Budget to the AFR.
Okay, so you're talking
Budget
about
and
final
AFR.
budget. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know the numbers.
But you're not
ESE
talking about actual
140.
numbers, you're talking about budgeted numbers.
Budgeted and AFR, right.
Well, but
And
budgeted
AFR.
and AFR, so
Budgeted
you gotta
and
be
AFR.
careful because we make future plans on budget, but we make
You just said
current
it.
plans
Yeah.
on actual.
You just said it. And Kathy alluded to it too, because it's still it's baked into the thinking that when we had the money left over, those weren't your exact words, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what they hear and that's what we hear. When there is money, after we've taken care of the priorities that we set, if there's money, you can have it. And that's what we're saying. That needs to change. It needs to change quick because we are in a different environment. This whole like St. Johns County, everybody apply here, those days are over, at least for the foreseeable future. And so I think at least part of the over budgeting in that number, again, it's not an accusation, it's just an inference. We think that we're budgeting for more positions than we actually fill. That's probably part of it, but there's money there. There's money. Really, the answer is the money's in committed because we say and we listen to the fund balance at 7.8% when it's really 10.84% because there's 3% of money sitting in committed. So ultimately, it's about decisions and priorities. And so where does the money come from? That's a really good question.
Justin, if you're looking at the 2022-23 AFR numbers, if we spent another $6 million, or 2.9, we took $2.9 million.
Which year?
The one we just finished, 22-23, or
21-22.
Right, exactly. 21-22, and you added another $2.9 million, what would our deficit be for the year?
Oh, you're running a deficit from last year.
Right.
There's no doubt.
Right.
What I was referring to was instruction specifically.
Yeah, but yeah,
That is
so
one
if we put
place
another
that gets
2.
over budgeted regularly.
Yeah, but it's not, budget doesn't matter. What's actually spent is what matters.
Okay. I agree.
Okay, that's good.
We're spending on things that are not, like, ultimately, we need to take 59.5% and make it 61%. That's what we need to do. We need to see a shift in the priorities. It needs to go into salaries. We understand that there's laws that are working against us. Totally understand that. We live in the real world, but there's not enough is being done. This school board should not be okay with being 4th out of 5th in starting teacher pay. Last year, we were all committed to 47.5. We spent $2.5 million on it. But we've got to reprioritize. That is the ultimate solution to this problem, and that comes with the placement schedule. That placement schedule has kind of been a thorn in both of our sides, honestly, because we're bringing in people too low, and then they sit there, and then they make the comparisons to other counties. Why am I here? I go to Flagler, $8,000. Whereas I go to Flagler, it's like a lateral, right? Because I've been here the whole time. So it does depend on who you are, but they're making those comparisons, Kathy and Mike, and I do think we need to change our priorities, and that starts with budgeting. Oh, I might have more points. Hold on. That's it. Made all my points.
Everybody clapped anyways.
Yeah.
And on a high note.
Is there anything that you have that I didn't answer that you need me to answer?
No,
Okay.
I mean, you answered it. You really can't identify. I mean, you say the district has money. We've seen it. I mean, that's what Morgan said on the news. They have money. We've seen it. But we have money, but it's earmarked for items and identified for items that we have committed to or assigned or restricted
That's our point.
for this school year.
That's the point.
Because last school year, last school year, we made a huge commitment to teachers. Big commitment to teachers.
We made progress. We didn't solve the problem. We made progress. We didn't solve the problem.
So the expectation of a $3,000 raise every single year is a very difficult expectation to meet and meet the needs of the children of this district. Because
They are the
85%.
needs of the children of this district.
But
Don't set me up like that.
85, is it 85 or 87% of our, 85% of the budget is already spent on salaries. So that leaves 15% left for everything else. Right?
Sure. So you're talking about AMC salaries, all the salaries.
All salaries.
All salaries, 'cause-
All support staff, SJEA,
All salaries.
everybody.
Every
Correct.
school district.
Right.
Right.
There's nothing new there.
That's
yeah.
not new.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, so it's not like it leaves 15% for other items in operation of this district. 97% goes within the four walls of our schools.
Do you have any metric that puts us in the top half in the state? Anything?
Cost-wise?
No, salary, average salary or median salary. You got anything?
Well, we don't have the brand new information from the state, and I already told you their information was wrong because they didn't include, we didn't finish paying teachers until June of last year, so they certainly didn't put that new information in for us.
So you think the state is publishing data that is for one county up to date and for another county not up to date.
Correct.
Okay.
So when you say, what does that mean?
I don't know. It doesn't add up. You got the only metric out there has us at 48th and 60th. And it's not good. That's not okay.
Correct, but what we have said is we don't believe that the
But
data
it's-
is updated.
but it's
completely
backed up
the
by-
way it is.
It's backed up by the analysis of the AFR. When you hear 59.5% compared to other districts in the 60s, how does that not connect? What am I missing here? You're not spending as much on instruction as other districts. Increase it by 1.5%, and we have a solution to the problem.
I don't know that I agree with that.
It's
Yeah,
not, that's
I
not
don't
too
agree with
reductive.
that.
That is, I'm always careful of oversimplifying.
You're over-
That's
Yes.
not quite reductive there.
Yes, I don't know that I agree with that, but
Can you tell them why you don't agree?
because I think you're throwing out numbers that don't necessarily have the basis for us to argue. You're throwing out numbers that support your argument, but I can't confirm that those numbers that you have are accurate because we saw what you passed across the last time, and the St. Johns County School District number was not correct.
And those other districts aren't growing at 200 and 250 teachers every year as well.
And we're back to the growth hurts thing. I don't know if we need to do that for all these people, but we can.
Growth does hurt.
So the information last time was a DOE report, not done at all by us,
Correct.
right? And that put us at 48th and 60th, mean and median,
Right.
or vice versa. But the numbers I just shared with you are the analysis of this team pulling AFRs and analyzing each major account. So
We'd love to see that
And
information.
what districts were those again, by the way?
the ones I
You
quoted tonight
Yeah,
are the
you
ones I
spoke
have
too quickly.
information on.
No, the ones you quoted tonight.
The ones I quoted tonight were Clay and Sarasota, 66%. Collier, 63. Collier's Naples, by the way, but it's similar in FTE. Sarasota is similar in FTE. Collier, 63%. Lake, 64.4. Clay is an interesting one because they are both contiguous and like size, so we often look there, but them being at 66%. Okay, we passed across a proposal that we believe can ratify. So would you like to caucus or would you like to talk more?
So I just want to see if Mike or Gretchen have any additional financial questions. No?
Not at this time.
No? Okay,
We'll caucus in our
caucus.
normal room and we'll
Yes.
start with 30 minutes
yes,
and we'll check in.
yes.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, tap me if I need to say it.
Audio off.
you go.
I did.
I believe we're audio on.
Oh, you may have to turn your mic back on.
Do we have to do anything with this mic?
Oh.
Test, test. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Sensitive. Don't be sensitive.
Let me give you the items I TA'd on.
Yes.
Okay. So I kept one and then signed the other two
Okay.
that you needed, so they're all in there.
I'm going to do it right now.
Good one. You
The
signed them
TA.
already.
I did.
You did.
You want
You-
these for your signature?
Yes,
Okay.
that would be perfect. So this is the insurance, so everybody knows this is the insurance that we passed across.
Right. You got to take yours and then Tammy needs one. Thanks.
And then you will get back with me and,
That's fine for suggested too. That's,
oh, you did sign it.
I did
Okay,
sign that one.
Perfect.
Yeah, that one's fine for suggested. The other one I'll
Okay.
need to
The hurricane.
chat with the
Okay.
team.
It's a very minor thing, so can we put the hurricane MOU up before we get into anything more
Of course.
substantive? Jen, that's Jen.
Did you resend one?
I sent it to Phyllis
Okay.
for printing, but it was close to the time you came in, so.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
We can still print it
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
need to.
But we can put it on the screen and talk too. If you can scroll just a little bit more, I put it in red. The log that you sent me had a May 15th date. This had an April 30th date. So they need to be the same, right?
Correct.
So we would prefer the later date, obviously. And then right after that, I don't know if you can tell, but it is in red. We didn't see a start time when you can start making up time. So ideally, we would be able to make up time retroactively. Some of us did work at home during that time, so we could use some of those hours in the log. So we feel like that's a reasonable proposal there. But everything else looks fine in the agreement.
Okay.
You have any questions?
I don't think so. We might need to talk about it, but I don't think
Yeah,
so.
okay. Then don't print yet, Phyllis.
You good? He's good. Okay. We're all good.
Okay,
Print
print
three.
Go.
Thank you. So I put 12 in there in my request, but no, we just need 3 if they're TA. Thank you. All right. So I'm done with that. All right, more stuff.
Yes.
Everything over here is done now.
Yes. So again, just reminding the group, the only thing we have left now is compensation.
Correct.
Okay. So we actually both talked a lot of numbers. And so one of the things that we did while we were in caucus is tried to reconcile the numbers that you kind of discussed regarding the other counties in the district. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and I'm going to let him review what was discussed between us. I have one extra if you
Let's
didn't
see,
make
hold
it
on.
back.
But it's not public comment, which is okay.
Okay, we're
You have
good.
enough, are you sure?
Yeah, we're good.
Sally, do you want one?
Here's that.
Do you want a highlighter? Yes.
Okay, so Justin, what we have here, yeah, that's way too sensitive. All right, so you gave us a lot of data relative to Clay, Sarasota, Lake, and
Collier.
thank you, Collier. I can't read my own handwriting. And so what we did is, and it's difficult, and I know we try to keep this simple, but this is not simple, as you know.
I agree.
Right.
It's very not simple.
It's very not simple.
Complicated. We have a word for that, complicated.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, it's very complicated. You know that. And so what we like to do is make sure we're comparing apples to apples, right? And not just yellow apples to red apples, but red to red. No pun intended. And so what we have here is, and it's an old, and so this also goes to the efficacy, so to speak, of DOE's reporting structure. The reports that you are looking at, okay, and I'm just going to be honest with you.
AFRs?
Nope. when you talk about salary, okay, what
Okay,
they're,
two different things.
two different things, right? Okay.
You just switched.
Yeah, no, because
Okay.
because you're gonna say, well, you don't like those reports, but you like this report.
Well, yeah, it's a DOE report, I noticed.
Right,
And
right.
we just
exactly.
tore apart the DOE reports.
Exactly,
Right.
and we're gonna continue to do that. Well, I'm gonna tell you why we're tearing them apart. And so those reports you're looking at, they are a date and time, and they're not all on the same cycle. So for instance, our salary, and to reiterate, that's in the one that you're looking at for 21-22 is the salary that was in place when they pulled the data from the state database, right? We were in negotiations and didn't settle until March or April. They had already pulled the data. So your minimum salary back then was still 45,535, and it wasn't 47,500, right?
Mhm.
So they go in and they just take out of the staff database the information they need and they pop it in there. Whether it's updated or not, doesn't matter, right? Okay. So that's those. And so when you're looking at those, you always got to be very careful what you take out of that, right? This, however, is different. And I'll explain why. So this is from 2019-20. Now you can say, well, wait a minute, Mike, that's 2 years old. Well, look when it takes, and there's a reason. It took them from, this would be June 30, 2020, balance sheet date, and it took them until May 10th to get it published, okay? And the reason for that is that this is audited data from all 67 school districts audits. And those audits aren't, the deadline for those audits by state statute is March 31st, and a lot of districts don't get them in until March 15th, March 20th. We get ours in before the end of December, but for relatively obvious reasons. But a lot of those smaller districts don't. So then they'll cut their report, all the data for 1920 for all 67 districts. That's all been audited, goes into this report. So we CFOs around the state put a lot of, and as do school boards and superintendents put a lot of stock into this. So, and then I said, well, this is the latest one I had. And so they wouldn't have a 21-22 yet because the audits haven't been done. So I was like, well, where's the 2021? So I went out on their website, couldn't find it. I called somebody I know in DOE. They kind of looked for it or tried to look for it. They couldn't find it. So this is the latest and greatest data. Now it's not going to change materially from year to year. So, but I'm doing this to show some information.
And can I just
Because
read
all,
it?
oh, yeah.
Can I
go
read
ahead.
it?
Mhm.
And so when he says this wasn't something that we had with us, when he says he called somebody at home while we were caucusing to make sure that we were truly going to provide you with the most recent data that we could find.
And so a couple columns we want to look at. So the group of data on the left-hand side is school expenditures. As you can see, that's what's labeled. And then on the right-hand side is district and the total. And of course, it's all going to, the two are going to add up to 100%. So we've color-coded those. So Clay, you can see their instruction is at 79.25%. Their total school expenditures are 95%. And the reason we look at this is because there's more to the financial statements, whether you're looking at the budget or you're looking at the actual, than just instruction, right? Because there is a lot that goes into a school other than just the classroom, right? I think everybody would agree with that. And then Collier, their instruction was at 82.24, so you can see that it was higher than Clay. Lake was at 77.21. We are at 83.2, and Sarasota is at 81.7. So I would prefer that we look at.
I'll bet.
Well, but this is the data. It's not cherry picked. This is the
Whoa,
data.
whoa. Who cherry picked data? I divided instruction by expenditures as
But
reported by an
you're
annual
taking-
financial report,
But you're
which is a
taking,
legal
you're taking
document.
one function and not all of
But
the
at least I
functions.
took the whole one and not just the salary. I mean, I didn't take, I left benefits in there.
Right.
It's not like that would have been cherry picking.
Well, no, and instruction, so that's the other side of that. Instruction is also salaries and equipment and anything else that's coded to a 5,000, whether it's 5,100, 52, 53, doesn't matter. It's
Right.
all expenditures in the classroom and not just teacher salary and benefits.
Who provides the data? that goes into this report?
The auditors. This is an
Who?
audited financial statement.
Who provides the data that goes into this? Where are the auditors from? State, district, outside, third party?
All of the above, depends. So like
Who decides what goes into what column? You?
no, the state. Absolutely. We have no input to this. So what we do is we have our, Chair Becker is our auditor. So when we're done with that, we submit the audit to them. Somebody goes in there. I hope they don't literally key it in, but I hope they have some kind of electronic transfer, and then they spit it out.
So when we look at an AFR, we can see what was spent on whatever major account and then the sub accounts,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when we take, I mean, you're talking about two very different numbers here, 83% versus 59.5%.
Well, I don't know what yours
They
says.
might both
We didn't
be
get a copy.
valid.
We didn't get a copy of yours, so I don't know what it looks like.
But it's pretty simple. It's instruction divided by total expenditures. Now, we have, in fact, looked at the entirety of those counties over 9 years, every account. But it's the instruction one that stands out as lower.
Mhm.
You went and got a report that supports or at least counters that argument, right? But at the end of the day, Mike, we have a problem with our placement schedule, bringing in people too
Oh,
low.
wait, and let's not get too far down the road. We're not done, I'm not done
But it's
showing
still-
the analysis
it's-
here.
Right,
Because
but
you-
there's
you
nothing
left out- you
invalid
left out
about
some
our
other data.
analysis.
You left out some other data
Okay,
about those
keep going.
districts. Okay, we'll keep going. So, and maybe you did say this, I don't know, I didn't go back to the tape yet. Clay, Collier, Lake, and Sarasota also all have a millage of some, are you aware of that?
I did not look at individual millages.
Okay. So Clay has a 1.0 mill,
It makes a difference.
makes a huge difference.
Right. Even when
Collier-
it's not in effect yet.
Yes, it does, because you can plan for it.
Well, I mean, everybody out there can look around and see a better pay somewhere. How do you explain that?
That's not, you presented some data, or you talked about some data, and we're presenting you some data, and then we can talk.
I just
Because
feel like
you
we're
make-
gonna go
you're-
around and around, yeah.
You have to go round and round, because you're making leaps that you're not doing this, you're not doing that, but you're not looking at the whole enchilada. You're just taking pieces and parts of it.
What counts as
And you're making
instruction
these
here?
you're making these huge, broad, stroke comments without a lot of data to support it.
I have a lot of data, I would argue, a lot of data
I'd like
to
to see
support
it.
the line of reasoning.
I'd like to see it.
Again, it's literally instruction over total expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could give you the spreadsheet, but that's all you have to do is look at the AFRs for comparable counties.
We'll do that. We didn't have time to do that today, but we will, or this evening, but we will do that.
You don't,
Because-
but you don't have to do the whole analysis, just look at instruction. Because that's where salaries lie. You could put school lunches in here. You could put all kinds of stuff in. I have no guarantee that what Clay put in this category is what Collier put in this category, is what St. John's put in this category. I have no guarantee of that. You can't present that.
Yeah, you do.
No,
The
we do not.
guarantee is those are their
But what
audited
we do
financial
have with
statements.
what I shared is we know that that's what was reported as spent on instruction in the AFR.
Correct. I'm not. gonna-
There's nothing invalid about the data I shared. It's not weak. It provides a strong argument from our side. But we've got no guarantees that there is consistency here from district to district.
Yeah, we do. These are off of their audited financial statements.
The same
and
person audits everyone?
Most of them. The Auditor General does most of them.
Okay, I
Every
need to let
district,
you
every
finish.
district that's over 200, is it 200,000 or 250,000?
FTE?
No,
It's only a few.
no. Population.
Okay.
Have to get audited. If you're under that, you're audited by the Auditor General every year. If you're over that, you're audited by the Auditor General every third year, and then you have a private company and come in on those off years, okay?
Okay.
So this is much more pure data from a comparative analysis standpoint than taking one, and I'll tell you why in a second, taking one function out of the mix, because you have other functions that can fluctuate in and out over time.
We've noticed that.
well, then there you go.
Well, that's why we took a 9-year average.
Well, but still, it's not all of the expenditures, and it's not what it takes to run the entire school district,
You're right about that.
okay?
All right.
And then Lake has a 0.75 mil, and Sarasota, of course, has the full mil. And so what you're looking at is you're saying, we're not keeping pace, and it's true, no one's denying we're not keeping pace with those other districts, but we're also saying we don't have the funding available to us that those other districts have.
What does 1 mil equal in Sarasota?
A guess would be 65 million-ish, would be my guess.
What was the Lake County?
That I don't.
No mil?
Uh,
Unknown.
Oh, no.
No, no,
The 0.75.
0.75 mil?
Mhm.
And then the millage in Collier and Clay?
0.35 in Collier and a full
0.3.
mill in Clay. And a mill for us is, again, roughly $45 million.
Right. It does appear to be, I mean, it does appear that,
But that's why you've got to compare
Right.
red apples to red apples, not red apples to yellow apples.
right. Is that it? Okay.
That's all I got to say
Okay.
about that.
All right.
Do we have the hurricane? That's okay.
I guess. So 95, 45?
Between some numbers.
Oh, so the claim here is that you spend $95 million more on instruction than what the AFR says you do.
Are you looking at
I
the
believe-
1920 AFR?
Yes, 1920, $209 million on the AFR, and I'm reading on this, my $305 million.
Mhm. Well, that's because you've also got, but see, again, you're just looking at the general fund. You got to look at Title I, and you got to look at everything, Justin. You can't just look at the general fund. You got to look at it in
We
totality.
got to do something to get these salaries up.
No one's disagreeing with that.
I can't pass a mill tonight, but a mill is a millage, everyone. It's a property tax. Anyway, all right, well, your argument's been heard. Do you have a counter?
I don't. So what I'm going to tell you is that, as you know, we do have a concern about committing more recurring dollars to the salary package, but you did pass across a proposal. So in good faith, we will go back to the board and discuss what you have passed across with them. And so we are prepared to schedule another session. And then the only other item I would say and request is, as we start to finish up 22-23 and prepare for 23-24, I don't know, you may already know this, Tammy, but the Board of Education has put out their legislative budget requests to the governor. Is that who it goes to? Mr. DeGutis. And so that's kind of where the budget process starts. So it's a good read. It starts there, and then the governor creates his budget, and the House and the Senate and all of that. So I just wanted to share.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
where it
we've got the
starts
waiting
for
game, yeah.
23,
Yeah.
Have you read
24.
it, though?
Oh, not yet. You're talking next year's. We're talking about next year? Yeah, Mike, I've been a little focused on this year. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really have. I've not looked at next year. I'm not being a smart aleck, it's true.
Did you guys go to executive session just recently?
We did go to executive session.
So would you not have, so the question I asked was if the district went to executive session. And typically in executive session, you talk about negotiations, talk about what possibly might be coming forward and get direction potentially from the school board.
Correct.
So
So the direction was to listen to our teachers, hear what they have to say, because we tentatively agreed to a package, and that's what we were agreeing to. So we came forward, we're here to listen, we'll bring it back, we'll have the discussion, and then we will return.
Do you have an anticipated time for session? so that we can look at dates for,
So we tried to schedule
Proposing.
dates with you for next week, and we weren't able
no,
to.
we don't have a
to
next
get
week
us,
date.
so
No. When's
can-
session? When is session? So that we can, when is
When are
executive
you doing
session?
your executive?
So we're going to reach out and see if we can't meet with them prior to the board meeting on the 13th.
Okay, prior to December 13th. So we'll look at dates after the 13th that you might be available. But I'm with
But
Tammy, I mean,
You all already stated you couldn't meet on the 14th or the 15th,
right,
so.
right. So we'd have to be the next week after that. But I'm with Tammy. You had an executive session. There was just no further direction. I don't think we need to drag this out. We need to decide what we're going to do.
Well, we also had a tentative agreement that was voted down, so.
Yeah, and I think the longer we wait,
But that
the
is,
longer we wait,
that is the will of the teachers, though. The bargaining team signed it, but it goes to every teacher regardless of their union membership, and they voted it down overwhelmingly.
we all know that.
So I know that, but I mean, it's important. I know
That's yours. I'll take the next two.
Okay.
So Mike DeGudis would like to make one more just addition to
One
the,
second.
of course.
I mean, I want to give him my attention.
Sure. And what is this one? Is this,
That's
this is
just
the old
yeah,
one?
this is-
That one,
Mike,
Okay, all right. So just one quick, and to answer Jesse's question, kind of came at me quickly. The other thing, what you're looking at, you keep saying instruction is 5,000, but what's instruction, if you go back here, when you look at your school expenditures, and Jesse, you can go back to the AFR and look at it as well. What's also included in that column is all of your like 6,000, your 6,100s, your 6,200s, your 6,300s, because those are the places that your guidance counselors, your ILCs, your this, that, and the others, I don't know them off the top of my head. They're included in that as well. You're just, when you look at that 5,000, 100, 200 object code in the AFR, you're just picking up classroom teachers.
right, but we are comparing,
But that's why that, but
we are comparing apples to apples though, because we're pulling the same account from Clay, from Sarasota, from Collier.
red apples to green apples, yes, you are. Because you're not
Because of
taking
a
it-
mill.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
big deal.
Well, it's because of revenue. You're in revenue mode and I'm giving you a ratio based on expenditures.
Right. I'm with you.
So,
Well, that's what we're talking here. too.
Right. Talk
But
about
there's a-
apples to apples.
But you can spend, you can't
I
spend what you don't
understand. I
have.
understand why you would make this argument. You're a
Right.
smart person. You're making the argument for a reason. I get it. But what you're talking about is sources of revenue, and wherever the revenue comes from, these places are spending more of it on their teachers. That's the argument.
Right, I got
And
you.
I still hold to
Yeah,
that. All right, I'll get with you on dates.
Okay.
But it'll be after session, obviously, so the following week.
correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the
Thank you.
chairs and everything tonight. Have a good night.
If you guys want to
personally, professionally, we're volunteers. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
We're volunteers. And every chance I get, I like to, and it's not, I'm not just patronizing them. They are phenomenal. This team, I mean, did you see that catch? Do you see the notes coming at me? Do you see, this team is phenomenal. The work we do, and because here's why. Nobody cares who gets the credit. A microphone gets put in front of my face, right? But they don't care who gets the credit. They just want to do right by you. That is truly, I mean, they are really, really good. This is, I think, my 8th year and like maybe 9th. And I think I've been the chief negotiator for about 6. So it's been a while, right? I mean, I've been doing it a while, and it's not going to last forever because it takes a lot of time. But it really gives me a lift. It really lifts me up personally and the team.
While you do that thing.
And the team. Jesse's my tech support too. It just means a lot. That's all I'm saying. And I'm starting to ramble, but
Justin, why do they ignore us? We have a problem. We need a solution. They don't provide a solution.
yeah, man, that's $1 million question, isn't it? It really is. We have a miserly school board. The evidence suggests that they don't spend. They spend a lot on other things, but they need to start spending it here. And that is you can see what an uphill battle that is. That is a real uphill battle. Evidence. I mean, did I provide bad evidence?
He said you did.
Well, of course he said that. But he's coming up with these reports like that DOE report is okay, even though it's 2 years old.
Yeah.
But the DOE report that I referenced that has us at 46th in the state is no good. And I'm not doubting that it is dated. It's lagging data. I understand that. But the DOE is not cooking books. It's a report that has us consistently at the bottom. So when Joe goes and looks up, salaries, when he goes and looks up salaries, that's the report that they're looking at. It's the only report out there that ranks salaries in our state. And if they don't like it, so it must be invalid, right? That's what you heard. So I know it's not a perfect report, but they can't just dismiss it completely. There was a question there, and then Casey, go ahead.
Oh, I just have to say.
Okay, statements are good, go.
So here's my issue, is they're showing.
You only have one? Okay, go ahead.
They're showing all of this data about the breakdown of the percentages of different counties paid for instruction. What does that matter when we have to work 2 jobs to pay our bills? What does
Yeah.
that matter to us?
Yeah, we have the problem is acute for St. Johns County because we're not Sarasota, right, with the salaries, but we are at the top of cost of living and all of that, right? So it's really acute for us. Yeah, really acute. And go ahead.
So I have 2 questions, and I've asked one of them before. I asked, what is the motivation? Like, I've asked, and I don't know that anyone is, what is the motivation?
Fiscal
to
conservative,
withhold-
yeah.
To withhold the money? Is there a benefit to them not giving the money? Is it interest revenue or what? We need to know what that is.
I have an
don't know.
opinion on that. Hold the second question. They love the #1 status, and that #1 status comes with a certain view from Tallahassee. And if their fund balance gets down to 4%, no way. So I've asked this question before. If 3% is the minimum, and let's say 20% is too much to keep in reserves, what's the right number? And he says nothing, just obfuscates. It's a question we talk about often, Justin. And they have 11%. They're required to have 3. So what is appropriate? They get very nervous, right? They get very nervous when the fund balance goes down. Go ahead.
So you're looking
Second
at
question.
the image that we're getting
The
on
image, yes.
this side
Yeah.
from there. Okay, so that
Yeah.
provides some. But then the second thing is if we're trying to renegotiate where our standing is, I think those are 2 different things that we're trying to talk about at one time, and it's never going to hit in the same spot. But the other thing is if we're talking data and they're talking data, and I'm a math person, how often do y'all sit with the computer up on the screen and talk together? It seems like there's
It's in the
a
inference.
disconnect.
It's what does the data mean? That's where the
Well, I
argument.
don't think that, because it seems like you're looking at different data than they are.
No, it's same stuff. There was, that hand was up and then,
It just confuses me, because, I mean, I'm sure we're all in buildings like my high school where my colleagues left and gone south, or my colleagues
Yeah.
left and gone north. And we know they're making more money because we can actually talk to them and they tell us to apply for a job there, and then we can apply for that job and say that it's gonna offer more money. Like, this is not an issue. Like,
for a lot, and it does vary. Like I said at the table, like if I look at going to Flagler, it's like a lateral move for me, right? Because I've been here my whole 12 years and I've gotten the raise that we negotiated. But if you came in with 8 years experience, you're never going to make at 12 years what I'm making now. So it's just not right. And it depends on who you are.
And we keep getting
And-
jumped.
You can get jumped. You shouldn't get leapfrog though. We have, what do we call it? We have protections in place for that.
But all the raises.
You shouldn't get- You shouldn't get leapfrog. Well, some of the state money coming up from the bottom. Go ahead.
I don't know if this is a question, but what are our next steps?
Wait for what they have to say, and then eventually, if you want to know what happens when if we go to impasse, if we ever get to that point where we're just done negotiating here and we can't, hey, we tried ratification, so we would go to impasse. That would be we find an arbitrator, or we act as a mediator, special magistrate, act as a mediator, and it would listen to both sides and write up a report. That report goes to the superintendent. The superintendent makes a recommendation to the school board, and we get imposed a contract. And so what it would probably be, my guess would be their last proposal. So that's where they're hoping to land. How painful they want to make it is up to them.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean one negotiating team, I mean ours.
Stay connected. Yeah, stay involved.
Finish answering and I will come back.
Stay involved, and if everybody's got like a non-member friend, it's like get people. We had non-members here tonight because they see what it starts to affect people, and we got their attention with the no vote. You all got their attention. ITA.
So they basically came tonight and didn't negotiate.
Right.
They spent, what was it, 2 hours?
Right.
Let's
Ball
say
kick
they
downfield.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, let's turn off the air,
Yeah,
let's turn off all of that.
You should see our caucus room.
Save
Like,
money.
all right. Yeah. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Do you think they're just wasting our time at this point? Do you think they're trying?
I think they're drawing out the time frame, but I don't wasting time. I guess that's in the eye of the beholder. But I would say honestly, like all of you are here, and there was a lot of people that had to leave, and because you have lives and stuff. But you're all here, and it's like, it really makes a difference to keep the pressure on them. They're not in a great spot. We're in a good spot with wind behind our sails. I think we're in a good spot, and I think we made the logical argument, got the emotional argument. It's all coming, but it takes a while. It does take a while.
I will say our next session, it needs to be this full.
You got to do it again. Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah. Go tell somebody what you saw tonight. Yeah.
Do you think tonight was basically they were waiting to see how we were gonna respond, which is why there wasn't.
Some where they didn't have a proposal, and I don't mean to cut you off, but yes, that's part of it. And also, they didn't know what we were going to do, because once you voted it down, we could do anything. And what we ultimately decided to do was something affordable, something that's been on the table before, that's reasonable. And there's probably people in here that are like, you should have asked for more. I get it. But remember, the goal is to negotiate an agreement, because if we go to impasse, I just told you how that ends. They're going to impose something on you.
Justin, I want to know why she called you a liar basically at the beginning.
I
She said you had
have
this
way
last
thicker
year.
skin than I don't care. I just don't care.
Was it a tactic?
My last job before, I have 12 years of teaching, 9 years of professional baseball umpiring. I umpired in major leagues. I don't really give a shit. I just don't. You just learn to like, okay, it's not, she's arguing with the guy in the chair, not Justin. Like, my heart's pure. I'm good.
So my question is, a lot of people online can see I'm following the chat.
Yeah. What's happening?
So one of the things that was mentioned a couple times is about how we're in the bottom 50% of whatever numbers Apple's boy wants to ask.
Right.
But well, sorry.
Yeah, and we do have to wrap up,
Let me
because
just
they,
call him top 10% in the state then, because AMC, we found money for them, right? They're.
Typically, they get like a 3% when like last year, our median raise was about 6%, depending on where you were. But and AMC got 3%. So they typically lag behind. Yeah. Oh, they fine? Yeah, of course.
Like,
So
I agree with that.
So I'm gonna, here's your steps. This is, here I am, once again, I'm gonna give you the steps again. One, your goal, people that are left in their room, is to go find a new member. That is your number one goal. So Friday, Kate should be seeing tons of membership forms coming in. Second one is, you need to continue to email the school board members, because they are going to executive session next week.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think, Sally, you said the quote that was perfect.
So they had a meeting already and they knew we had not ratified and it wasn't a priority to discuss it then. Again, it wasn't a priority.
So,
Did we help get elected some of those?
yes, you probably did, yes. So, contact them. Not all, no, I mean, you might have voted for
No, I
them.
thought not like.
Yeah, we didn't win the one we wanted to
Yeah.
win. But continue to email every single school board member and ask your colleagues to do it. Ask your parents who support you. The only way we're going to continue to put pressure on them is for you. We can only do what we can do here at the table, but we need all of you and your friend and another friend and another friend to put pressure.
I see it, thank you for seeing.
Shouldn't we not go to
Oh.
the school board meeting?
Yes, that is the next thing.
Four now.
Thank
So
you.
we can go.
That is-
And you can speak.
So thank you so much for bringing that up. There is your perfect opportunity. Pack the school board meeting and put your name in to speak and talk about how you cannot afford to live here because your rent is so
Tuesday
high.
at 4 p.m.
Tuesday at 4 p.m.
40 Orange Street.
You can show, you don't have to show up at 4 p.m.
I wanna speak, but I don't wanna tell everybody.
So when people just say their name, they still let them speak. So if that's what you feel
Yes.
comfortable doing, just say your name.
So we need you guys to pack the house in the school board meeting. That is the next thing. We do not, no, we do not advocate that. That is illegal. Illegal to do a sick out. Thank you guys for coming. See you Tuesday at the school board meeting.
Thank you all for showing up. Very much appreciated that you're all here. I'm going to shut it down because we're all going home now. I'll try and figure out a mic situation for next time we do a Q&A. I don't know when I'll get that done. Thank you.